The year is almost at an end, with 2026 right around the corner. And with it, new games and new gaming products, some of which have really caught my attention. With that in mind, I thought we'd take a minute or six and talk about all the things announced thus far for 2026 that I'm excited for. I'm sure there are things I've missed, just never gotten the news about them coming out, so just keep in mind this is just the stuff that I know and give a damn about. First on the list is the commercial release of Warlord Saga of the Storm. This is a revamp of an older TCG that passed me by in the early 2000s, but now it's come back via the miracle of fervent fans and crowdfunding. I never played Warlord in its original iteration, but earlier this year I got a demo from a local and fell in love with the game. From the great classic styled art, the mechanics, and just the whole vibe, the game just clicked with me. This may become my go-to for a one-on-one TCG while I stick to the multiplayer formats for Magic and Star Wars. I don't really need another TCG, but this one has just won me over. If Kingswood Games can get it onto shelves and work on promotion, this could be a big hit in a market that is crying out for some variety of gameplay. Next up is the new stuff slated to come out for Warzone Eternal. If I was going to make a list of best new products from 2025, Warzone Eternal would be at the top of that list. It really is such an amazing game. And that's before taking into account my obvious biases for the Mutant Chronicles IP. I won't go into too much detail here as I plan to do a legit review video for the game, but it really is so fucking good that it's painful more people aren't talking about it. Hopefully, 2026 sees the player base grow, and the sculpts we've been shown for a few upcoming units will go a long way to helping sell it. We've seen the Wolfbane Commandos for Imperial, which we saw some teases for before, but just this year at PAX Unplugged, we got to see the new Samurai unit for Mishima as well. We also got to see the legendary Ezogul, although no indication where that is in the design pipeline. Much like with Warlord, if Resnova and Transatlantis Games can do some good promotion for the game, I could see Warzone becoming very popular in the skirmish gaming market. While I'm worried about the absurd release schedule for Magic the Gathering in 2026, I am excited for 3 of the sets announced. Lorwyn Eclipsed, Secrets of Strixhaven, and The Hobbit all have my attention. I have no interest in Ninja Turtles, Marvel, or Star Trek despite liking all those IPs, and I'm on the fence about Reality Fracture, as Mark Rosewater said it totally won't be where they try to make the Universes Beyond stuff part of the actual Magic multiverse, and, well, he's lied to us before. All that aside, though, I'm very excited about Lorwyn, Strixhaven, and Hobbit. Lorwyn was one of my favorite blocks back in the day, despite being to blame for giving us the plague that is Planeswalker cards, and the few previews I've seen look amazing. Strixhaven is a set that I missed out on, but always seemed neat, so going back to it has me excited. I'm also just a sucker for Middle Earth, and while I likewise missed out on the Lord of the Rings set that came out a few years back, The Hobbit does have my attention. It could be a hell of a set for making dwarf decks, and I'm really interested to see what they do with Smaug. But hey, I'll be happy if I can make a commander deck for my boy Bard. Now, I am a sucker for mass battle miniatures games, and one that has had my attention for a while now is Argatoria. One complaint I've heard from people about it is that the factions the game launched with lacked some variety, seeing how for a while there were 3 human tribes with barbarians, 2 lizard folk armies, and 1 army of evil humans with some undead and beastman type stuff thrown into the mix. While I'm not against the model sharing among factions, I can understand where people are coming from with this. With the recent release of their orc army, I know some eyes were drawn to the game because people love their orcs for whatever reason, and in 2026 we're getting another fantasy fan favorite, dwarfs. I'm not the biggest dwarf guy, but the sculpts we've been seeing for these little guys have been very retro fantasy bliss, which, much like the orcs, has been catching people's attention. I'm hoping that this expansion into more fan favorite races will get more people looking into Argatoria, as the models are great for 10mm, and the rules look solid. It's a game that keeps calling to me, and maybe with these new dwarves, it'll be an easier sell to my local scene. The last bit of TCG news that I'm aware of and excited for in 2026 is the next Star Wars Unlimited set coming in March, A Lawless Time. While I'm still catching up on the last 3 sets, this one really has my eye. I'm a sucker for the underworld aspect of the Star Wars galaxy. Criminals, cartels, and bounty hunters are generally a good time, with some exceptions, and I'm happy to see us going back to that. Shadows of the Galaxy was a bit of a letdown for me, seeing how it was absolutely flooded with Mandalorians. But I loved the theme of the fringes of society, and the smuggle mechanic is great. I hope we see that come back for this next set, but we have seen two new gimmicks coming with credit tokens and multi aspect cards. I'm very excited about both of these, especially the multi aspect cards, which can really mix things up. I'm hoping this is a set where Fantasy Flight stops being cowards and gives us Zuckuss and Forloom leaders so that I can make a Twin Suns deck with them in charge. So far, what we've seen looks like great fun, and March might be shaping up to be an expensive month for me, what with this and Strixhaven both dropping. An honorable mention is going to go to Armored Clash and seeing how that expands. I've not gotten into the game, but it seems like it's all but inevitable at this point that I'll likely buy a starter box and dive in. The article that Warcradle put out recently discussing plans looks very promising, so while not as on my radar as the rest of this list, I am hopeful for the future of Armored Clash. And that's all that's in my sights at the moment. It's possible more stuff will be announced that I'll want to talk about, but this is just a little teaser for the moment. Next year might end up being very expensive for me if all goes well, but hopefully that means more gaming and more content for you guys. So what are you most excited for in 2026? And how brutal is next year going to be on your wallet? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow the link in the description below. Follow me over on Instagram as well, where I post pictures, basically. I hope you all had a great 2025. Thanks so much, and take care.